Well, that is something that everybody wants to know. Are Pakistan and India headed for another conflict? I hope not. I hope not. I mean, another conflict will be bad for both. India is taking off. It is becoming a major economic power. That will slow down the pace of progress in India. Pakistan is already in economic troubles. A war or even a large level conflict will have a very bad impact on our economy. So, and it's one of the most populous places on earth. There are almost 1.5 billion people living in South Asia. So we do not want another conflict or another war in that region. But what happened in the United Nations yesterday, or rather what has been happening for the last 2 or 3 days, is that India sort of decided to, or seems to have, the Indian delegation seems to have come to the United Nations with this determination to not give Pakistan the chance to raise the issues that Pakistan has traditionally raised in the United Nations, particularly the issue of Kashmir. So the way it all started was like 3 days ago, on its first address to the UN Security Council, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto-Zardari raised the Kashmir issue in the way that Pakistan always has, mentioning that it is a dispute which is yet to be settled, that there are UN resolutions on this issue, and that this is one of the issues that needs to be settled. There was nothing unusual, there was nothing so extraordinary, there were no strong words, there were no threats, nothing. Pakistan basically just reiterated its traditional position on Kashmir. And there seems to have been an understanding in Islamabad that they would continue raising the Kashmir issues in various international fora, but they will go slow on this. And that's what Pakistan did. But it seems that after merging Kashmir with the Indian Union, India has taken another decision. They have decided on their own, without consulting the Kashmiri people, without consulting the international community, that Kashmir is now a part of India, and therefore they will not let Pakistan raise the Kashmir issue anywhere. Soon after, the foreign minister raised this issue in the Security Council. The Indian foreign minister, who was chairing the session, because India is the current president. India has the presidency of the UN Security Council, which ends this month, but India still is the current president. And he launched a very strong attack on Pakistan, saying that Pakistan is the country that hosted Osama bin Laden, and that Pakistan has no face to talk about terrorism, no face to talk about self-determination or anything, that Kashmir is no more a disputed territory, that Kashmir belongs to India, all those things. And it was so strong that we all felt that Pakistan would respond. Of course, Pakistan was not going to let it go like this. The next day, around 12:45, the Indian foreign minister spoke again at a stakeout in the United Nations, and where he once again attacked Pakistan, once again talked about Osama bin Laden, and called Pakistan the perpetrator of terrorism, and all sorts of things. And therefore he left no options but for Pakistan to respond. And I think the foreign minister gave a befitting reply to Indian provocations. He reminded that, okay, Osama bin Laden, number one, was not a Pakistani, that Pakistan did not train him or invited him to Afghanistan, and that Pakistan joined the fight against terrorism from day one, and that Pakistan lost more people to terrorist attacks than any other country in the Pakistan, and that Pakistan also extended as much support to the war against terrorism as it could, actually, probably more than any other country in the world. And then he reminded, but there is one person, the foreign minister reminded the Indians that there is one person who was labeled a terrorist by no other than the United States of America. He was declared the butcher of Gujarat, and his entry was banned. He couldn't get a US visa. But it all changed when he was elected India's prime minister. But before that, he was an unwanted person in America. And that person who was called the butcher of Gujarat is not still alive. He is not still around. Osama bin Laden is dead, but he's alive. And he's not only alive, but he is now the Prime Minister of India. And then he said that the Foreign Minister and the Prime Minister both belong to a group called RSS, which draws information from Hitler's SS. And he also recalled that the present Indian rulers not only label Pakistan and Pakistanis as terrorists, but they label every Muslim as terrorist, even the Muslims living in India. And they said that this war and terror has created a space for people like India's present rulers to attack Muslims and to bracket Muslims with terrorism. And that's what they are doing. They are taking advantage of this space to unleash vicious propaganda against Islam and Muslims, and the international community must stop them. So I think it was a befitting response. It was something that was needed, and I think the Foreign Minister did put Pakistan's message across, and in a very skillful way.